Hello. I thought that today I would share with you some of my favorite ephemera that I like to make. And I'm not sure about any of you, but I have a problem. I tend to make ephemera and then I love it so much that I find I don't actually want to use it in anything. So I make more and then I still have the same problem. One of the simplest things, which I have been bringing myself to use, is just a folded up bit of paper. So from my scrapbox, whatever I've got left over, and just a bit of stamping and splatting. So I think some of those are stencils, some are stamps, just to add into pockets. Some of the dyed papers we do turn out really nicely, and it's just sort of a way of not adding extra scraps back into my scrapbox. Using up the little whale tail tabs that we've cut. Some of them are bigger pieces. But yeah, so that's a nice way of kind of filling your pockets with extra writing space. So those ones are pretty easy to use. And then there was a book that I had which only had a few of these images in it, and so I think I used quite a few of them in one of the journals I did, and then I've been hoarding the last one because it's my last image. So these were, I think that was the only single-sided one, and that was just glued to coffee dyed paper, and then again I've sort of inked and used like my little weird disease kind of looking splat scraps. And yeah, so just turning them into kind of large journal cards and tags so that I get to use the whole image. And then with the double-sided ones, just popping them in as they are after I had inked them up. The ink went kind of interesting on this shiny paper. It sort of smears a bit, but it added to the look of these guys. And then this was, she was a little bit more gory, so I covered her up with, I think it was just baking paper maybe, to try and knock back some of the muscles. And then this is the last one that I've been hoarding, so it's just the skeleton, and it's just like a little, scrappy notepad with again a few little extra bits put in. So I love sort of making those guys, and also anything that doesn't require sewing is nice. While I like sewing, sometimes you just want to fold paper and play. So these guys, I have these little images sort of left over from, I think some of them were from magazines, some were from calendars. They do like the mini bits on the back. And so just attaching them to a scrap bit of paper that you can then, add little tickets, other little scrappy bits in, and again that's just folded but kind of turned into a little hidden pocket there. I think that was the leftover of a brown paper bag and I didn't want to throw it out. So yeah, just turning into like these little fold out notebooks, I guess. It's yeah, it's a nice way of sort of using up all those little bits that you can't bring yourself to get rid of, and also extending the bit of paper if it's not quite long enough and you want that bit of extra writing space. And yeah, no sewing required with those guys. And these ones are a similar, some of them kind of, just hidden little notebooks. Again, don't want to make extra scraps, so just fold it in, and that one's got a little tuck. These ones I did sew on the machine. I think I've got some which are just folded, but some of them I wanted to be more like a little scrap notebook, and just using these little images that I found. So yeah, leftover cardstock, because again, can't throw anything away. Yeah, so that's just a folded one. And just finding different ways of folding all your papers, but they make nice little additions to pockets. And yeah, you can kind of make them look like they're a little notebook when they're not, and then some of these actually are. So some of them just have extra, yeah. When you don't like making scrap, just fold it all up neatly inside. And again, I think that one, yeah, that's just a little folded long bit that I must have had left over from something. But again, it sort of makes like a nice little notebook that just tucks in neatly. And then that was one which I just did a little 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Yeah, I haven't added anything to them, but it's just all the leftover bits of coffee dye and avocado dyed papers and things. So I was going to make a couple of those, and I think I have left my little images in the other room, but that's all right. We can just do one with this. So this is just left over from, I think it was probably left over from a paper bag cover that I was doing. One of my favourite artists is Rodney Matthews, and years ago I bought a beautiful portfolio of his that I've never really known what to do with, and I've started using it for the images, and yeah, I love them. I wonder if these are two. That'll do. So I'll just snip that one down. And sometimes I ink these, sometimes I don't bother. But I do actually have my ink. Let's just get rid of that white edge. And I'll just get rid of that. Boop. Escaping. So yeah, for these little ones that you're just going to fold, find the image that you like. And I usually, it doesn't really matter what side you put it on because you can fold it any way you like. I think I probably usually tend to just do it on an edge. Let's just... Now with these ones I tend to often give them a little bit of a border. I guess so it looks more like a little mini kind of cover. Might have used a bit too much glue. Whoops. That's all right. No one will ever know. maybe a lot too much glue. That's all right. And then I don't ever bother measuring these. I just kind of... It's why some of the folds end up quite different. I just fold them until they're all kind of tucked neatly away. So like that, and then just tuck him on the inside, and you've got a little folded out notebook. Sometimes I ink the edges of the front, and that just kind of makes it look a bit more finished. So we'll just do that on this one. Oh, let's do that last little. And with these, I mean, you can glue them into a journal so that they open up and that bit's sort of glued, so you could have it as a little tuck. Or you can just, I tend to just pop them into pockets when I can bring myself to use them, which doesn't always happen. The other things that I really love making, which I think I first saw this on Camellia Crafts Designs, and it's a little flip tag, double tag, I don't know. So you can actually sit it over your page, and yeah, they've got like, you know, like a little pocket for extra little tags, and you can actually have them facing either way. So if you want, yeah, they kind of flip both ways. And I really loved making them and loved them. and then realised that I love them so much I haven't been able to use them in any journal. And then these are, because this is quite thick cardstock, so it can be a little bit bulky. So then I started doing them as just single tags. So with a nice image, an extra little tag and some writing space, and extra writing space on the back of those as well. And I did a whole bunch of them, and they're very, you know, these ones are quite pretty with the butterflies and jellyfish and flowers. And of course, I don't really make any journals that these go in, because I tend to like the more poisonous and anatomy stuff. So then I pulled out, I think in a previous video, Pernell showed the little pandemics book that I bought, which was this poisonous green with figures. And so I started using that and came up with all of like these. This is a little bit of one of the glassine bags from my granddad's stuff that we inherited. Again, that piece is actually one from, I think they're photocopies of slides that Grandad must have done. And for some reason, some of them are in this fabulous, kind of very poisonous colours. So I just kind of turned those into little journaling cards. And yeah, that's using more out of the little pandemics book and these guys as well. So yeah, I ended up making these and really liking them. It's just, yeah, that's one of the figures from it. And of course, haven't been able to bring myself to use them because I'm so happy with how they turned out. That's more of the little glassine bags, more of Grandad's kind of gory looking, well, not gory looking, but poisonous looking slides, I guess. And so I really like this kind of double-sided, double-sided tag. So you've got writing space, got lots of little goodies in there. Using up scraps of fabric. That's more of those, yeah, it must be reprints of the slides. I'm not sure why he had them all coloured like this, but they work very well with what I like to do. This little background was actually, I think it was when I was inking around these and the people, I needed something to put them on because they were a bit flimsy. And so that came about because I'll grab something here. Oh yeah, so if I had a very thin paper like this, and I didn't want to rip it, I was just doing all of my inking like that in different colours and getting these kind of shadows. So I'd do a whole bunch of inking, so I'd pick up more things, and let's just do a couple so you can see, and in different colours. And after, you know, doing a bunch of them, you kind of end up with this very cool grungy background, and why waste it? So yeah, that was a nice little happy accident that happened. If you'd like to see a tutorial for how I put these guys together, just drop a little comment below. They're a bit more involved, so I'd probably just do a whole little tutorial on these just on their own. What else have I got in the box? Oh, so this is another thing. You know, when you're doing die cuts or anything, or actually punches, anything that you kind of end up with these negatives, I guess. And we often do them in, you know, maps and nice papers. And again, I don't want to throw them out. So yeah, this is inked up and then just glued down onto, I think this was just craft paper that we had when we were, you know, splattering oxides and things around, and it kind of gave that great look. And I just coffee bubbled the back, and it's just turned it into a little waterfall notepad. But I like that look, and it means that you're not throwing any of those kind of excess bits away. You still get to use them if they're in a pretty paper and they're all nice. What else have I got? I do like doing weird little pockets. So again, these are from, I think this was from a kid's book about animal anatomy and all sorts of things. So yeah, just on a bit of coffee dyed paper, and then made one pocket there, and then that guy's a little tuck, so then that'd just get glued into the journal to make a bigger one. That was another little pocket, just using images that I really like, but if they've got bits that I don't, just yeah, covering them up using the little bits that have been punched out from other pockets, because you know you can't throw any scrap away. Some larger journaling cards, just covering up certain bits and adding extras. I mean, I really like doing all of this sort of stuff, turning them into, using every last little skerrick. What else have we got? Oh, these are some of the larger notebooks that I like doing, that I can then just slip in a pocket, or actually I think some of these were paper clipped into the journal so that they can be moved around. And again, using up all the little scrappy bits that would normally kind of, you know, fill up your scrap box and take up too much room. And that one can actually be glued in or just paper clipped in, and the same with this one. We did some lovely eco dyeing, probably a couple of years ago now, and I haven't been able to bring myself to use any of them because I love them. However, some of them had little rips and things, so those are the ones that I've let myself use. It's very silly, but I just can't bring myself to use the good stuff. Yeah, stamps. This is, I think it's just some old rice paper or Japanese paper, but the stamps went really nicely on it. And this one was an envelope with little paper pockets. This was another one that I saw on Camellia Crafts channel. The only thing I didn't like was how chunky this back bit ended up, so I'm going to have a rethink about this, so that it's not quite so bulky. But I like the idea of kind of having hidden things behind the see-through pocket, and you know, you can fit a tag and stuff in there. The other little bits of ephemera that I love making are mostly from my granddad's scientific papers. So in here I've done a couple. I love that stamp. Yeah, so just the little snippets of these weird, I don't even know what they were slides of, probably air particles or something. And then all of these fabulous little, I guess these are copies of the negatives of his work. Again, probably air particles, but they fit into these lovely little glassine bags, and with little tags on them to pull them out. You can kind of make them look like anything. I really enjoy making sort of mini books to hide in the larger journals. And but yes, after making this, of course, I like it so much I don't want to put it in anything. So I think I need to just make more of everything, and then I'd be happy to start using it. And these are just little journal cards done on the scrap that was left over from, I think this is one of the old hanging file folders from my granddad's study. So yeah, I didn't want to throw it away, so turned it into journal cards. This is another sort of little mini style notebook. I haven't sewn this in yet. I don't actually like how that's crinkled. I think I probably need to just do it as a single-sided thing rather than a double, but I did like that it had pockets, but can always add different pockets onto that. And this was using 6x6 paper that was a bit boring. So it was nice and easy to kind of cover it up with stamped bits and tickets. My mum and I, Pernell, went a bit crazy with tickets. So we've ended up with some of these are on watercolour paper, some are on book page edges. So when we've ripped off, you know, just the blank edge and then kind of stamped on them and then just ripped them up into little ticket size. Some of them are on 12 by 12 paper that we didn't really like. This is actually really fun. It's, yeah, just kind of stamping on it and then ripping it up into ticket sizes. And it works really well. Oh, look, a whale tail. But yeah, we may have gone a little bit crazy. So yeah, we never need to make tickets again, or at least not for a while. And it's a nice way to play with all your ink colours too, for all your edging. And then the last thing I think that I've got in the box is a little, it's just like a journal cover topper, which I added sort of a little notebook to. That's more of my granddad's very weird photocopies of one of his slides and just using up little bits of scrap. So this was meant to get glued onto the top of a, yeah, onto a journal cover, and then of course I quite liked it and couldn't decide what journal. So yeah, shoot me a comment if you'd like to see a tutorial on any of these in particular, and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, does anyone else have this problem? Do you make all of this ephemera that you fall in love with and then can't bring yourself to use? I need to get cracking and make more. Okay, bye.